Welcome back to the third installment of my top 10 players of 2017. Today we're going to be looking at number 8, Jacob from NRG, the first NRG player that I've had to mention in my run through the top 10, and the NRG player who had the most prize money earned out of the 3 players on NRG, which is, I'll explain that to you later, but it's quite an interesting little bit of trivia there. So again, just to reiterate the main criteria for my seeding of my top 10, just for anybody who's new to this series or anybody who wants a little bit of a refresher before we get started talking about Jacob's year. We're looking at prize money, we're looking at their results versus other top teams, and their individual contribution to their own team. That's obviously the most subjective, or the only subjective thing on my criteria. And the tournaments that I'm going to be looking at are the exact same tournaments, the RLCS Season 3 and 4 playoffs and lands. We're also looking at E-League, Gnarly, DreamHack Atlanta, X Games, and the Universal Open to a lesser extent. But without any further introduction, let's talk about some of Jacob's results alongside his teammates Fireburner and Garrett. He played with the exact same team all the way through the year, with the exception of the Universal Open 2v2, which he played with Sizz. But yeah, most of the year, exactly the same team: Fireburner, Garrett, and Jacob. The team that started off 2017 as unanimously the best team in North America. They were no doubt in anybody's mind, excuse me, that these guys were the team to beat. And they started off their RLCS Season 3 LAN with a great result over Northern Gaming, who went on, of course, to eventually win the LAN. But they managed to, that is NRG, managed to beat Northern Gaming 3-0 to start things off. And then they continued that momentum against another top EU team and took down Flipside Tactics 3-2. So things were looking great. This is probably the best an NA team had looked at LAN since IBP 1 Season 1. After that, it all kind of went down the drain when they lost 3-4 to Mock It in the winners finals, and they lost losers finals to Northern Gaming 1-4. Northern Gaming on day 3, of course, were a completely different team to the day 1 team that fell 3-0 to NRG. But still, but I know you guys are asking, wait, that's not all the results. They played other games at the Season 3 LAN, and what about their playoff run? The reason I don't mention any of those games is because I don't think the other games, particularly their playoff games, were particularly impressive. I wouldn't use them for a reason to bring up as a noteworthy mention to of why I'm putting Jacob in my top 10. Of course, being the number 1 seed going into the LAN from North America is noteworthy, but I don't think the teams that they beat to get that number 1 seed were any teams that were worth mentioning. They pretty much ruffle stomped that qualifier. But things, they were looking pretty good at this point for NRG. Still, 3rd place at Season 3 was pretty solid. I think in one of my previous videos I accidentally misspoke. I said that Cloud9 getting 3rd place at Season 4 was the first time that a NA team had got top 3. I meant to, I completely blanked on NRG's Season 3 run, so correction on that one. I can already see comments appearing in the previous video because I'm recording them all at the same time. But yeah, sorry about that. The Season 3 of NRG was just as impressive in terms of where they finished, if not a little bit less impressive results wise, I would say, than Cloud9's run. Because I think Cloud9 had a really close run results wise. Performance wise though, I think NRG probably played a little bit better. They actually looked like they absolutely could have won that winners finals against Mock It. I think that on another day they might have taken that. It was just a super close 3-4 loss, and nothing to be ashamed of there. But moving into X Games, that was the next big event that NRG played, and they just did a complete green clean sweep. They 3-1 Envy, which was the new look Northern Gaming. It's a good revenge match there. They also took down Selfless, who I usually wouldn't put in a list of notable accomplishments, because they're a bit more of an inconsistent team, although regularly in the top 8 for North America. Certainly not a team that you'd expect to be making deep runs at the international stage. However, this was Selfless Torment Edition, and that is, I think, a very interesting edition of Selfless. Probably the best iteration that we've seen, because they were able to do really well that tournament, and NRG only beat them 4-3 in the semi-finals. So that is, I think, a great result, beating the Torment Dapper Miho version of Selfless. Of course, Torment was just subbing for that team. He was still on Cloud9, or playing with the Muffin Men, sorry, at that time. And yeah, beating GFE 4-3 in the grand finals. This was right in the middle of GFE's 2nd place spree. It just came off a second place at DreamHack Sweden, and then at X Games, NRG, you know, relegated them to the exact same position. So things are looking on the up for NRG, best team in North America, no doubt at this point. Probably the best team that North America has ever seen, because IBP, of course, had a bit of a Cinderella story in Season 1 and then they just collapsed afterwards. But this is a team who have had a good run at RLCS and then followed it up with another good tournament run. Winning X Games is huge at that point. I definitely rank that tournament extremely highly. I'd say winning that is more important than winning online finals for RLCS Season 3 and 4, but that's, of course, just my personal opinion. After X Games, we did see DreamHack Atlanta, and that was a much less successful story for Jacob and for NRG. They beat Mocket, the new look Mocket, which was, of course, Pashy, Freaky, and Fairy Peak 3-0. But that result, I don't think is you know, really impressive, because it was still a very new Mocket team. They hadn't had a long time to practice together like they have now, and they also would have been a little bit maybe a little bit unprepared, because that was, I think, a bit of a rushed LAN, and the EU teams didn't look too good compared to what they do at RLCS. But after beating Mocket 3-0, they actually lost to the eventual winners 3-0. The Muffin Men were able to take down NRG, which was a huge upset at the time, especially since the Muffin Men didn't even make it into that matchup as second seed. It was NRG coming out of group stage who took the first seed in their group with a 3-0 win over Mocket. Muffin Men had just come off the back of losing to GFE 3-2, so people absolutely thought NRG were going to win this, but they got 3-0'd pretty swiftly. That was sort of the first sort of sign that there might be a change in the power rankings in North America. They have a power struggle, because NRG had been dominating for so long, and this is the first new look of it, or a team that really showing up and taking it to NRG. It is worth mentioning the Universal Open, though. This is one of my favorite stories about Jacob in all of 2017. Very, very interesting little story that he had in the Universal Open. Besides coming third overall, which is a phenomenal result, by the way, he, in fact, I believe, knocked out both of his teammates from this tournament. I don't remember who Fireburner was playing with in the tournament, but I think that Jacob and Sizz did indeed knock him out before they even reached the LAN. So it's a bit of a seeding, a bit of a weird seeding, not gonna lie, but Jacob and Sizz were able to take down Fireburner, and then they did knock out Dapper and Garrett, which was you know, the other Jacob teammate, Garrett. They knocked them out at the LAN finals. It was Dapper and Garrett finishing, I think, 5th place. Jacob and Sizz finished 3rd. They didn't just knock out DapG, they also knocked out G2's Rizzo and Kronovi, and they knocked out Pashy and Fairy of Mocket, which, you know, those are some great results, because EU 2v2 was at the time considered to be stronger, and Jacob and Sizz were really the only team that showed up and gave any real fight to the best teams. Except, actually, well, I guess DapG did as well, because I think they beat Mocket also. But still, huge results for Jacob at the Universal Open, which, although it is a 2v2 tournament, I'm including in my own, you know, estimation for who the best player was, just because so much money was on the line. I know these guys would have been taking it seriously, and although they take threes more seriously, we can't ignore the Universal Open entirely. I don't rank it as important as 3v3 LANs like Gnarly and DreamHack Atlanta and X Games, but I probably put it on about the same level as winning the online finals for each respective region. That's sort of how I've done this. But after Universal Open, we did have, of course, the Season 4 of RLCS commencing, and the only noteworthy results after group stage was all said and done for NRG was losing 4-2 to Cloud9 in the playoffs, and the 4-1 victory over G2. Their other victory in the playoff I don't think matters, because it was just such a ruffle stomp, not really that important. But the 50-50 in the playoffs overall, beating G2 is a pretty big deal, because they get the better seeding, forcing G2 to be in the side of the bracket with Gale Force Esports of EU, which was confirmed at that time, since EU went first. So yeah, pretty good job, but losing to Cloud9 again. By this point, Cloud9 certainly considered the best team in North America, although NRG started the year being that best team. And moving into Gnarly, it was just more confirmation of that fact, as Cloud9 had a superior LAN to NRG yet again. NRG also lost to PSG, which happened once to Cloud9 at that tournament, but Cloud9 were able to beat PSG twice, of course. But NRG lost twice to PSG. Their sending to the loser bracket and their elimination from the tournament were both at the hands of Bluey, Chaussette and Farah, if I'm not mistaken. There are other noteworthy results at that tournament. They beat Method 3-2, they beat Ghost 3-1, so still a pretty okay tournament overall for NRG. finishing off, I think it was third at Gnarly. I have to just really quickly double check. Yeah, it was third at the Gnarly Invitational. So pretty solid stuff by these guys. Absolutely nothing to panic if you're an NRG fan going into Season 4. LAN, alright? Wrong. Well, only wrong because they got upset. I'm going to say, and it's an upset because Method had previously lost to GF, or rather to NRG at the Gnarly LAN, but Method took them out in the winners. I mean, it's an upset, but only marginally, I think, because Method are a phenomenal team. And then losing to Chiefs in the loser bracket round 1, just a horrendous way to go for NRG, because that then eliminated them from E-League contention, eliminated them from LAN contention after 2 games. They didn't win at all, so just it must have been PTSD for Fireburner and Jacob, thinking back to Season 1 where they just got eliminated from Season 1 LAN as the first seed from North America without winning a single series. So a bit of a shame for those guys to finish off the year the way that they did, but I think still overall a very good year for NRG. Probably the 3rd most successful team in 2017 as a whole. Of course, first would have to be Gale Force, and then second probably Cloud9. But NRG, just because of their strong start to the year, their win at X Games, 3rd place at RLCS Season 3, 3rd place at Gnarly, 3rd place online finals for Season 4, and Jacob in particular, 3rd place Universal Open. A lot of high placings there, and it was just a real big shame that they finished off so badly, or else we might have seen him higher up in the list. But yeah, I gave him a little bit of bonus points for knocking both of his teammates out of the Universal Open. It's worth mentioning his prize money total, if I've calculated it correctly, comes out to 7th in the... Or no, sorry, his prize money comes out to 5th in the world for 2017 from major events at $33,438. So pretty good work there. And his win-loss ratio versus other top teams is the 7th best out of the players in my top 10, because he won 12 series and lost 10, and that's of course all the series that I've listed in this video. But that's pretty much all I've got to say about Jacob, the first member of NRG that I've mentioned on my list. Will there be more? We'll have to wait and see. But if you want to continue watching this series, it'll be back tomorrow with my number 7. Until then, thanks for watching, and have a good day or a good night. I finished off last video saying have a good day, then I remembered time zones are a thing. So yeah, have a good whatever time it happens to be, wherever you may be. I'll see you guys next time.